Next on the programme tonight, it's the story that everyone has been talking about over the last week or two. Another story that a lot of people have been talking about. Obviously, the Jill Maher story is something everybody's been talking about. But over the last week and a half, in England, a 30-year-old maths teacher by the name of Jeremy Forrest ran away with 15-year-old Megan Stammers, claiming it was all done for love. He was arrested in France and is about to be returned to Britain to face charges. The couple say that they are besotted with each other and that's why they went on the run together. Now, the teacher is now in prison and faces charges of child abduction. His lawyer says that he wants to be back in Britain to be close to the 15-year-old that he loves. Now, his lawyer said, what these people have been through is a story of love and passion. Others feel that this guy, Jeremy Forrest, is just a dirty old man who should have known better than to fall for a 15-year-old girl. His lawyer thinks differently. Jeremy Forrest is in no way a pervert. This is a story about love and passion. His only crime was to fall in love with a 15-year-old. The question I want to ask you is this a pathetic excuse? Should this guy be locked up for years for running off with a 15-year-old? Or do you feel that at 15, Megan was old and mature enough to make the decision herself to go off with him? She certainly wasn't dragged away against her will. There were photographs of them on the ferry heading to France holding hands. Everything seemed hunky-dory. Or maybe you agree that it is possible and that he's not a dirtbag. 6797104 is our telephone number. She claims to love him. He claims to love her. He's 30. She's 15. And we'd like to know, is what he did an absolute abomination of a crime? Or is it possible for a 15-year-old to make the decision that she's in love with this 30-year-old, a 15-year age gap? Or is she just not mature enough to say, I love you, I want to run away with you? Should he have been the one to say, no love, I'm sorry, much and all as I might love you and all that, we can't do anything here for a couple of years until you're 18. 6797104. When you were 15, you probably had a crush on a teacher. I know I did. Gee, she was gorgeous, she was. Anyway, give me a call. 6797104 is our telephone number. Joan, you're on FM104. How are you, Joan?
Adrian, how are you?
Grand, thank you, Joan.
Oh, hadn't we all crushes on teachers?
I did, yeah. She was absolutely drop-dead gorgeous, this teacher was, yeah.
Well, you know, Adrian, Megan is a child, but she thought she was an adult, and he is an adult and acted not as a man. And I believe he should serve jail. He should get strict punishment. And what he did was he abducted her without the permit of her parents. Mm-hmm. And if they had sexual relations...
You see, John, just to cut across you for 1 second, you said he abducted her. There is no suggestion that she went against her will.
But
none whatsoever.
No, but she's a minor. And that makes a difference. Also, if they had sexual relations, he's got another worry. And that will come out in due course. This guy never corresponded, must have known that her parents were beside themselves with worry. The first reaction you feel as a mother, that when you see her, instead of crying and delighted, you want to slap her hard, and that's a very emotional and a sort of a normal reaction. All over the years, Adrian, young girls have fallen in love with their teacher or somebody, and they have had the stories of them going off. It's grossly irresponsible from the man's point of view, and if he was a real adult, and at 30 years of age he's not a child, he should know himself that this girl may have these feelings towards him. Obviously, there's something loose there in his head. He's very gullible, very vulnerable, and he should be the thinking partner and not the girl, because it can happen. Even at 15, some girls are very sophisticated and they're well aware of what they're doing, but she too needs a good slap as well, because she went off leaving parents, I'm sure, distracted, and it's a very serious situation. But if they had sexual relationships, because I believe they booked in to a double room and they appeared quite calm, cool, a bit naive, I think the word that was said about them. And if they had sexual relations, then that is very serious, I believe. And this guy...
Back in the day, and in fact somebody just texted in about this, Adrian, didn't Elvis Presley fall for his future wife Priscilla when she was only 14 or 15? And that's 100% correct.
Probably. And
that is true. Yeah. And I never heard, he was 24, she was 14. So there was a 10-year age gap. And I never have ever heard Elvis being described as a paedophile.
Well, maybe not quite a paedophile, but definitely abducting somebody. No, probably not, but then that was thought America. I think the age there for the difference between a child and an adult possibly was close to our own ages here. And they can fall in love, but then there would have been, I'm sure, acknowledgement to the parents. Did they go away in secret? Did they take a boat? Did they go to a country that they weren't even sure where they were? There's a lot of different things there. I mean, if he felt very much in love with her, well, the proper thing to do. And as a teacher, imagine, can you think of what every mother of every child in his class, like I just saw a teacher, can you imagine every mother would be up the wall, my goodness, is my good-looking daughter going to be the next, if he were to be left off scot-free and he wants to replace this girl, which I've no doubt he would in a couple of years, is he going to then be free to look after and be attracted to the next girl? He is quite a threat in society.
Okay, you genuinely see this guy, Jeremy Forrest is his name, as a threat to society?
Absolutely, to any young girls, because that's what he's done. He's taken away a minor without notifying any family members, and that to me is the same thing as abducting her.
Okay, stay there for 1 second. Michael, you're on FM104. How are you, Michael?
Not too bad. He abducted her. Well, she went in her own car. That's number one. He's going to jail. That's number two. He's going down for about 5 or 6 years, maybe more. Now, plus the fact that if they will do tests on her, that's why she didn't go home straight away. They took her into some... she'll have to be examined by doctors and whatever and social workers over there. It'll all come out in the washing anyhow. But they will send him back. But he had I don't think this was planned on the spur of the moment. You see, he's a very clever man. Because not just because he's a teacher, but he's a clever man to the fact that he knew that by going to France, it's legal. I don't know, you can check this out. I'm not too sure, but I think in France, it's 15 or 16.
You're right. The age of consent in France is 15.
So this guy done his homework well before that. He could have came to Ireland. He could have came, not a chance, because he knew what the story was there. But I'd say he was more sick that he was caught, because he would have never gave himself up. Because thanks to Interpol and...
But again, and I know this is... I know we're talking about a minor.
Yeah.
I know it's... on the surface it's very sickening, but I'm only throwing this out as a question, but is a 15-year-old not able to decide for herself that she loves this man?
Well, even if she turns around, look, if my daughter's not 15, she's a lot older than 15 now, but if that was my daughter... Do you not think that if my daughter... Well, first of all, my daughter wouldn't tell me. And second of all, she wouldn't have... they couldn't have the relationship around there because they would have been spotted. So that's why he planned this. That's why I keep going back. This is a very, very shrewd and clever man and a very dangerous man. When I say dangerous, I really do believe that woman that you had on a few minutes ago, he would have dropped this girl. I really do believe...
Okay, you believe that this man... is a major danger to society?
Well, the only thing that might come out now, did he have a relationship with another girl before this girl? This fella's a teacher. Well, not exactly getting away from that. I would be very fearful if my daughter came in and said to me, or I found out that my daughter had a relationship and she's 15 with an 18-year-old. Now, that would worry me. Now, it would really sicken me to find out if she went and said, I have a relationship with a teacher that's 30. I would absolutely, and I'm sure a lot of listeners will absolutely just, it would absolutely destroy me. I mean, it destroyed it almost destroyed her mother and father. You saw it yourself. They had to come onto the television. The poor man was in shreds. He couldn't even give the interview. I mean, it's bad enough that they didn't even stay in England. Anything could have happened to her, and anything could have happened to her in France. I really do believe that he would have dumped her. At the end of the day, when he got tired of her, he would have dumped her.
And that's as may be. But my question tonight is, can a 15-year-old make a decision that she is in love with somebody and wants to be with them?
No way, no chance.
Absolutely no.
No, because I think these 15-year-olds read too many. They're so wrapped up in Justin Bieber and all One Direction that they're in cuckoo land. I mean, they live in a world of fantasy, and most teenagers will have a crush on their teacher. It's been there for donkey's years. It's been there for donkey's years. I'm sure it happens over here in Ireland. I'm sure it happens around the world. But at the end of the day, the teacher has to be strong enough to say, not a chance. Sorry, love. I will end up in jail.
Okay, yes, go on, Joan, yeah.
Because of her age, of course we can understand that she feels she's fallen in love forever and ever. She's still a child. She'll fall in love when she's 19 or 21 again. But because of the kind of guy he is, as that Cora rightly said, he'll be the different guy that she fell in love with. He will change. And
the thing about it now, the thing that has sickened the police now in England is that this guy was very clever because he knew the legal age in France, and I really believe, thank God for for the internet, for mobile phones, for Big Brother watching you, because I really do believe if none of this was around today, she would never be caught.
No, she may not have been. I agree with you. Although Interpol existed long before the internet ever did, so
it would have been harder.
Yeah, all right. Okay, stay there for a second. Des, you're on FM104. How are you, Des?
Adrian, how are you going?
Grand, thanks, Des. What do you make of this?
Yeah, I think it was an adventure for her, and he was in a professional job, and he should have just said no. But also, I think there must have been other people in the school that knew about this before, they went off.
Apparently there were people who spotted signs or thought there was, seemed a slightly inappropriate relationship, but obviously not enough to think they're going to run away.
Yeah, but I mean, at the end of the day, he had a responsibility in his job, not just because he's a teacher, but in that position when you get to meet so many people that, you have to say, look, this can't go on, good luck. And also, maybe there was problems at home with the girl. I don't know now, but maybe there could have been problems at home that might have been pushing her, and this is a very easy option for her. Let her go, and you don't know the circumstances overall. Like, I'm not saying there was problems, but there could have been. And another thing as well that someone said about Elvis Presley.
Yes, I said about Elvis Presley. Yeah,
but Elvis Presley had full consent from the parents.
From her parents, yeah.
To bring them out, and he wasn't left alone with her at any time.
Doesn't necessarily make it any better, does it?
Doesn't, no, but at least the parents knew where she was going. She didn't just go to America and stay with Elvis, like that wasn't the case. But
no, I know that, but the fact was he was a 24-year-old who was...
but she was going into someone else's care in America.
No, I understand that, and I know all that, but it's still, still a huge age gap between them, and she was still a 14-year-old.
But it's a big difference then. After 24 hours, your daughter's gone missing and you don't know where she is. There's a big, big difference, And that guy should never teach. You should never be letting your kids again. And do you agree that this guy is a danger to society? Yeah, he's very. I agree with that other guy saying that I would say that girl wasn't the first girl that he has.
All right, well, there's been no suggestion of anything other than that. But
if he can do that, if he can run off with a 15-year-old to France, God only knows what might come out in the next few weeks. Hopefully nothing, but at the same time, he had a position that, he had respect, and he had a loyalty to kids and parents and trust, and he's just blown all that out the door,
All right, stay with me for a second. 6797104 is our telephone number. It's Adrian with FM104's phone show. The story in the news over the last week and a half is the story of a 15-year-old girl called Megan who ran away with the love of her life, her 30-year-old maths teacher. He was arrested in France and is to be returned to Britain to face charges. The couple say they are besotted with each other, and that's why they went on the run together. His lawyer said what these people have been through is a story of love and passion. Others feel that Jeremy is a dirty old man who should have known better than to fall for a 15-year-old. His lawyer says his only crime was to fall in love with a 15-year-old. Christoph!
Oh, how are you? How are you, Adrian? Yeah, I am here, yeah.
You think this is a story of true love?
Yeah, it could be, just like by the book, in my opinion. The guy could fall in love, really just fall in love. Maybe he had previous relationships and they didn't work out. He met...
Well, mind you, he was married.
Oh, yeah, he was married, yeah?
Yeah.
All right, so
he was actually in a current relationship. Now, I don't know if he was separated or anything, but he was married.
Maybe it didn't work out. Everybody has that, as well, and probably he could met the right for him. He maybe took a little bit of advantage, but that's a really could be a really love story like we see in the cinemas, like everybody or like we read in the books as well. The guy he was looking for her and for him as well the right place when he can be with her as well.
Yes, and France was obviously the place because the age of consent is 15.
Exactly. And I think he's a really clever guy as well because he found the place. And he was totally aware as well of risk what does it take. And he was thinking about it. He took that risk. That's really romantic as well, isn't it?
It's really romantic.
Of course it is.
Well, Joan, it's really romantic.
He took entire responsibility to escape from the country, and he was looking for the place where he could live with her as well. Who knows?
He must be reading too many Mills and Boons books and went out of the year and dot. Wait till I tell you, this maths teacher couldn't add 101 and get 2. First of all, it would have to be secret love in hiding places. Do you really think that there would be a future with that romance? What's that guy's name there you're talking to?
Yeah, Christoph.
Yeah, what kind of a romance had you got? Did you abduct a girl? I'm sure you didn't. Did you think...
I listen to what you said, and I agree with that, and I agree, but look, this is a pure love story as well. It could be a story for the script or for the next movie, and everybody's going to go, and you're going to go and enjoy that movie.
But it could be a crime story. It'll be of a very serious nature.
Crime story, that everything's almost joining to...
One of the things, Joan, that he said in his statement through his lawyer was that he wants to be brought back to the UK in order to be back closer to the person he loves.
Listen, that showed the guy as absolutely over the top. He thinks he's coming back, and what? He doesn't see her mother or father at all, and he continues with this schoolgirl romance, whatever, about his wife. Where is he coming from? The guy, first of all, needs to be examined to see is he...
Okay, well, Christoph, let me put that to you. That firstly, this guy was a school teacher.
Yes, I know.
He was her school teacher. He should have known better, for starters. But you believe what? That you can't help who you fall in love with?
Yes, I'm totally aware of that. But love is blind. He had pink glasses on it as well. That can explain that as well. And everybody does mistakes. In my opinion, he took entire responsibility, and he was clever to doing that. And that's typical for romance. That's typical for could be a pure love as well.
Okay, well, in fairness, he didn't have much choice but to accept responsibility. He was caught red-handed with the girl.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like he rang and said, "Oh, here, I'm really sorry, after leaving with this girl." He was caught red-handed with her.
Oh, yes, but love is a little bit abstract feeling. It is abstract feeling.
There's too wide an age gap there. I mean, goodness knows.
I'm totally aware of the age gap as well. I'm not talking about the girl at the moment because she couldn't. I agree what you were saying before, that she's still a child. She could fall in love in the teacher. Loads of guys fall in love in her past teachers, but could be a pure story, even pure love story with that gap, with the age gap difference as well.
Well, I don't believe that he knows the meaning of love, because that's not the way you fall in love, when it's forbidden fruit, and that's exactly what it is. And I hope
I'm saying he took responsibility. He's going to take all and he knew about it, and that's the point as me for well to prove that could be a love.
But she's only a child, and they may not have even got as far as France.
That's a different side of the coin, that she's a child.
She's a child, but they may.
But sorry, Christoph. The fact is that she is a minor. She's 15 now.
Indeed.
Do you not think what he did in Now, obviously, it appears it wasn't against the young one's will. She was quite happy to go with him, blah, 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 blah. Mm-hmm. But he should have been the grown-up to say, listen, love, we can't do this. Let's wait till you're 18 and we'll head off then.
I understand that completely. He shouldn't have done that, but the love is blind and make you sometimes get stupid choices and stupid decisions.
And Christoph, is love binding? Is love binding? Is love lasting? That wasn't everlasting love.
Who knows? Who knows? Maybe they will be happy together.
Oh, that love wouldn't have lasted. Everlasting love, he wouldn't even wait 8 months.
You can't tell that it never lasted forever or whatever. Maybe it would. Who knows?
Oh, no, he couldn't even wait till he was 18. It wouldn't last forever.
I'm saying this story can be a really great script for a movie or for a book.
Oh, well, I hope you'll say that when the police have him on either side and the fella goes into jail and rots for a while.
Let me finish. But real, the love stories and the love movies are not in the real life, and this is only one difference.
Well, you see,
that's why I think he knew about it. He totally knew. He planned the getaway. He put the glasses as well on her eyes that we're gonna live happy and ever after somewhere else.
Well, I hope he said goodbye to his wife, whom he fell in love with.
What he was doing, and maybe that's the quintessence of love as well.
Well, I hope
crazy, do something stupid, and. Yeah. That's why he was caught. He's going to take entire risk. I'm not defending the guy at all, but for me,
well, I have to say, sorry, Christoph, it does sound like you're defending him.
Yeah,
it does.
Absolutely.
It does sound like you're defending him in saying that this could be just a lovely, beautiful love story.
Love is blind.
As a story. I'm saying as a story. I'm not defending the guy because he should know better as a 30-year-old grown-up man.
No, but you have defended him from the point of view of saying love is blind. That's what you said.
It is love. Love is blind. We've all done stupid things, where we fell in love as well.
I agree, but not with a kid.
No.
With the kids. But maybe
Jonah,
he was thinking that he met the really right one, that he want to make lovely living somewhere else. Of course, it's stupid with a minor. We know all that, but he took that.
Okay, Joan, I'm trying to get this girl on the phone, and hopefully she'll answer her phone. But she says, having been in a similar situation a number of years ago, when I was 16 and involved in a relationship with a teacher in his late 20s, I was fully aware what I was doing. Who's to say a 15-year-old can't be mature enough to fall in love? She didn't go kicking and screaming. And she didn't go kicking and screaming.
Well, you see,
and she won't talk to us, by the way.
I believe that she'll have a problem too when she comes back. She's got to take a certain amount of responsibility, and if she's going to prove that she's very responsible and knows what love is all about, well, she didn't take much responsibility without telling her parents. Would it not have been better? I know that your friend there is saying it's so romantic to run away and take her away and maybe have had sex with her, which is very serious, etc. There's no love there. That's blind love. And that guy is blind.
There's no love, or it's a blind love.
Well, I hope he said goodbye to his missus when he left her, his other wife.
Oh, that's the other side. Yeah, but what I'm trying to say, it's a great story for a script, for a book or whatever. Because
I know, but Christoph, I know. Look, I understand what you're saying about it might make a great movie in a couple of years, but it does sound like you're saying, well, look, we shouldn't be prejudging this. We should try and find out if this is a true story of love.
Yeah, everybody's got an opinion as well, but God's going to have the final word in the real life.
Okay, stay there for a second. Patrick, you're on FM104. How are you, Patrick?
How are you, Adrian?
Yeah, Christoph is annoying you. Why?
Adrian, he's as bad as your man. He is the teacher, yeah?
Thank you very much.
Well, okay, so you don't agree that it's a romantic story, Patrick? You don't agree?
15, Adrian. She hasn't even hit puberty yet.
She has a 15 now. Come on.
Come on, Adrian. A 15-year-old.
They have gone through puberty at 15, but okay, Christoph is basically saying, not that that's any excuse, but Christoph is saying that we shouldn't be prejudging this, that they may genuinely, sincerely love each other, and that's just the beginning, middle and end of it.
Oh, man.
They could do that, but what I'm trying to say, it's
have you got a daughter, have you?
what we are seeing in the movies and we're reading in the books, that could be, it's possibility. He knew about it. He took all the responsibility over it, and he's gonna have a trouble for it at the moment. But that's a love story, typical love story.
Oh man!
All right, David, you're on FM104. How are you, David?
Yeah, how's it going, Adrian?
Good, David. Now, we've all heard about this story, teacher running away with a 15-year-old. You don't believe at 15 you have any idea what you're doing?
Well, I've seen it in the paper, like she had a list of things that she wanted to do before she died, and one of them was diving off the cliffs out in Howth and all, so I knew straight away she was a bit simple, you know, the kind of way.
Diving off the cliffs in Howth?
That's what was in the paper. She had a list of things that she wanted to do before she died, which obviously sounds strange, to be honest, in the first place. But your man's 30, his mind is fully developed, he's a teacher, he's clever, he's not in that position for nothing, you know, the kind of way. And he led her over the fence. He knew exactly what he was doing, like what one of your other callers said. And I hope he gets 10 years, not 5 years or 6 years. He's a predator, Adrian, and she's only 15, and there's no need for that at all, you know what I mean?
Now, when you've heard what Christoph is saying, that perhaps this is just a genuine love story. Why are people, just assuming this man is a dirty deviant?
I can see where Christoph's coming from, but I wouldn't even take any notice. Not being smart to Christoph around, but that's silly talk, you know, the kind of way.
Well, there you are, Christoph. It's silly talk. This guy is a deviant. He should be locked up. End of story.
And probably he's going to get it, you know, but...
no, he most likely is, had the truth be known.
That's right. That's why I'm saying it's a real life, and you know, typical love stories got a good endings or a bad endings, and this one, it's, you know, he didn't took this for his knowledge. Probably that is a real life. It's not a movie. But what I'm saying is, it's a great story for a script.
Well, that's what you think, but that was premeditated. He took her.
David, I'm about to go to another caller here, who's basically saying, and she's probably right, if this girl was a tiny bit older, nobody would have batted an eyelid.
Yeah, exactly. Even a year older, yeah.
If she was 18, even to the limit of 17, they probably would have said, well, you know, a lot of people would say that's still not right, but you're right, they probably wouldn't have, no?
That's the point, Michelle, you're trying to make here, that if she was a little bit older, nobody would have batted an eyelid.
Yeah, it kind of would be like that when you think about it.
But the fact is, she is only 15.
Yeah, I know. I know, it is a grey area, but like...
What age are you, Michelle?
21.
21. When you were 15, did you know what was what?
I knew enough.
Did you have a head on your shoulders enough to know that you loved somebody, to know you wanted to be with them, to know you wanted to run away with them?
I wouldn't say I would have ran away with anyone, but...
But give it a shot, isn't it?
Huh?
Give it a try, give it a shot, why not?
The question that I'm asking is, when you were 15, as a girl, did you think you knew it all? Well, we all did at 15, but I mean, what I'm asking is, can a 15-year-old, in your opinion, genuinely be in love with somebody?
They probably can, but a lot of time they probably don't know.
So have you grown up a lot since you were 15?
Yeah.
Do you know, I mean, are you a lot more mature? When you look back at 15-year-old Michelle, are you a much more grown-up woman?
Yeah, I'd say I mean,
even though when you were 15 you probably thought you knew it all?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I understand. I see both points of it, like... But, I don't know.
And had you any crushes on people older than you when you were 15?
Yeah, probably did, yeah. Pretty sure I did, actually.
But you were able to just leave it at being a crush, were you?
Well, I didn't know them, so...
Oh, right, yeah, okay. And what's your view on this story? You've heard what Christoph is saying, that this may be just a proper love story, that this man had no ill intent towards her. He genuinely, I mean, in his statement from his lawyer, he said, this is a story of love and passion, is what the lawyer said. What do you think?
Well, if you take him at face value, then yeah, it could be true. Like, he could just, just be unfortunate. If it was she was 15, that kind of way. Yeah.
All right, stay there for 1 second. 6797104 is our telephone number. Trish, you're on FM104. How are you, Trish?
I am. Hi. Just hold a sec, turn off the radio.
Thanks very much, Trish.
Okay.
If you don't mind. We ask people to do that because of our 10-second delay, and you just get confused if you're on the phone.
I can't mute it. Okay, there we go. I'm just curious. I mean, yeah, it could be conceived as a Romeo and Juliet and whatnot because of the age. But if that man was so clever, why didn't he just wait a couple of years until that girl was of the age of consent?
That's the one bit of this story I personally just can't get my head around at all. I can't get my head around at all.
Because love is, is something, you wait for sex if need be, and even if something happens in years and years of a relationship that you can't have sex, you accept it if one can't, for a medical or for any reason, psychological, medical, any reason, you accept it. Sex is not the be all and end all. So why was he so quick to get her away and get her out of the country if he's so...
Well, I don't know if it was quick. It could have been planned for months. Apparently there's a report that they were seen holding hands on an airplane on a school tour 7 months ago. So this hasn't just happened overnight. This has happened over a period of...
I mean, why was he in such a hurry to get her out now when he could...
Yes, no, as I said, it's the one thing of this story that makes no sense to me. I have to be honest with you, because if he loved her in the way in which he said, or in the way in which his lawyers are now saying, she very clearly wasn't abducted or wasn't, taken against her will. She knew what she was doing.
Yeah, but she's a young pubescent girl, and she's going to want to have sex too.
But my, as I said, thinking about this over the weekend since he was arrested, I keep asking myself, if he did love her in the way in which they're claiming, why did he not wait 2 or 3 more years?
Exactly.
And then there'd be nothing nobody could do about anything.
He has so much experience over her. I mean, there's something wrong, in my opinion. If he had waited, all of this would not have been a problem. I know people that were in this situation, and they waited, and they waited, and they waited until she had graduated. And
then nobody can say anything.
No, and then they're married, and they're still married.
All right, and I like I said, I think a lot of people agree with that. What was the guy thinking? Why did he not sit himself down and say, look, I'm mad about that young one, but I'm going to leave it until at least she's 17 or 18 or whatever, another 2 years.
Exactly.
And yeah, I don't get that at all. When we hear of that young girl being abducted, well, that's the claim that she was abducted. It appears she went of her own free will and choice. A 15-year-old with a 30-year-old maths teacher. They run away to France. We had a caller saying maybe it's just a love story. Laura, when you were 15, you were with somebody who was 27.
I was.
And did you think you loved him?
I did. He promised. The sun, moon, and stars. The amount of, thinking back on it, the amount of crap that came out of his mouth to feed me, to get a young one into bed, it's absolutely disgusting. And when you think you know about love when you're 15, you don't. You really, really don't.
And how did you meet this guy?
I actually was working part-time. I met him. He was actually a manager of mine at the time. And it's absolutely sickening that's happening under people's noses.
So this 15-year-old runs away with her maths teacher. There's no sign that she was abducted against her will. She went of her own free will and choice. When you were that age, did you feel that way?
I would have gone, yeah. I would have gone own free will, would have gone. He promised when you're 15 and someone older than you is showing you that much attention that obviously you're not getting elsewhere, at home, family, friends, whatever. If someone's promising you the sun, moon and stars, they love you, they're going to look after you, you're their world, you're going to do anything for them. And when you're 15, you're that stupid. You're going to.
And when you look back on it now, you realise that this man who was so much older than you fed you a load of lines in order to hook you.
It actually makes me sick, thinking back on it. how stupid and how much disrespect I had for myself at 15 years old when I should have been a child seeking out the little mini discos.
And did you love him, or did you think you loved him?
I thought I loved him. Honestly thought I loved him. But geez, at 15 you don't know what love is. You really don't. It's a crush. It's an infatuation. It's not love. There's no way a 15-year-old knows what love is.
Now, this teacher has been arrested, is being brought back to the UK, is most likely going to be charged with some crime like abduction or whatever. Do you think he deserves to be in jail?
I do.
Do you think the guy who had a relationship with you when you were 15, did he deserve to go to jail?
100%. He's like, for someone of that age to even look at a 15-year-old like that, it's absolutely perverted. They're children. That's all they are. They're children. They're not matured.
Okay, but putting yourself into the mind of that 15-year-old, okay, and you were that soldier. Now, she obviously, you say you would have run away yourself. You felt like that. But you believe that that's down to the deliberate manipulation by that older person on you, telling you what you wanted to hear and all of that.
100%. I felt pregnant by the guy who I was with when I was 15. First sign of that, he was gone like a dicky bird. He didn't give a shit. He just wanted someone young in bed. Piece of arm cancer.
And did he succeed?
Pardon?
Did he succeed?
What way?
Did he get you into his bed?
Oh, he did. Yeah, when I was 15. And absolutely, it disgusts me. It makes me cringe at the thought of it. That someone had their hands on me when I was 15 and took away that innocence from me.
So this guy, this teacher in England, you firmly believe needs to be locked up?
Deserves to be hung and go to counselling. There's obviously something wrong if you can look at a 15-year-old going down the street like that and go, oh, I'll have her, I'll be with her. You know what I mean? That's, no, it's wrong. The law is there for a reason with the ages. You're a child at that age. You're going to school, going doing your after-school activities.
So let's imagine right now there is a 15-year-old who was like you were there, who's like that girl Megan was a couple of weeks ago, who thinks she's madly in love with him. What would you say to that girl? Because she thinks she knows it all.
You don't know it all, at all. You think you do, but 10 years down the line, you'll regret it and you'll have nightmares about it. I regret it every single second of today. So I do. Worst thing I've ever done in my life. And one thing I'll never ever forget.
Appreciate you talking to us, Laura, and telling us your story. Thanks very much indeed.
Okay, thanks a million.